here's what you should do.
My
You
life.
should tie a laser to a cat and let it drag it, because cats are strong. They've got cat strength, not horsepower, but cat power. I think all the listeners that Alex just tried to surprise me with would agree that cats have superior strength. And what you do is you just tie a laser you put the laser in a box, obviously, right? Stability, and then you let that cat just run down the road. It's not that far. Maybe tie 3 or 4 together, right? They got this. Yeah, mule.
Are we saying cats have superior strength when directly compared to horses?
When obviously only when toting laser boxes. I mean, the math has been done. It's probably going to be talked about at LBX, which is coming up. I think that's going to be one of the things that people are talking about.
Is there going to be a talk on that?
I think so. I think they're going to have it. I think that Jason, I don't know if you guys know Jason Dory, close personal friend of the show. He has been doing lots of research with cats and laser boxes. Like Schrodinger's cat.
Laser boxes, is that any box that is a laser, or are we talking about like the supply cabinet?
Or? I don't want to take away from Jason's thunder, so I'm gonna let him expose all that. It's good stuff.
Well, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Laser Source Podcast, the #1 podcast. If you need a break from looking at Matt's face, it's not here right now, so you all get a brief moment to take a breath in and exhale on that one. We do have Kyle's face here. Hi, Kyle.
Yo.
I mean, technically the face is there, but
Anthony, Big T, what up, dude?
How's it going?
Dude, that goatee is looking fresh.
I told him last week that it looked dope.
Thanks.
It's thick,
and I told Matt I'm using it to hide my chins. So,
it's thick with 2 C's. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's very like lush, and just like black,
With this low resolution, you can't see the grays, so that's cool.
I'm into low poly graphics. They're coming back into style. So
yeah, I'll be in 8-bit next week.
Yeah, word. So yeah, there's that, and Kyle is doing a little fidgety goodness over there with his computer. He's going to be sharing some deals on Amazon with you guys shortly. I have nothing for that. I didn't know that Amazon was having a sale. Did everybody else know that in the world? I don't go on Amazon every day. I go on Amazon like once every 3 weeks.
They knock on my door every day. They send me emails. I get text messages. Like my Blink camera catches them stepping on my yard, which I made a sign for using Johnston's Plastics Plus that said, "Hey, please stay off the grass," because in Florida that shit costs money.
Right.
So
and if you step on the grass, you're definitely not our sponsor of Johnson Plastics Plus.
You know what really says stay off my grass?
What?
An alligator.
A bad
alligator.
I was gonna say a bad
alligator.
I was gonna say a bad segue.
Bad segue.
Look, Alex over there. You know what doesn't say stepping on my lawn? It's some JP Plus.
You know what is the key to having nobody step on your lawn? Not having a lawn.
Cats dragging boxes
for the win.
Really
Boom. Yeah, no one can step on my lawn. I don't have to worry about it. You guys should step into the description where we have a link to our sponsor, Johnson Plastics website, where they've got tons of goodies for very low prices, very high quality goods. We have an amazing little series going right now, The Ultimate Guide to Blank Material. And we've covered quite a bit. We're taking a little break from it shortly here for our 3D scanner overview episode, but we'll be getting right back into the Ultimate Guide soon. I think glass is next, which will be hard, but I'm looking forward to it. So make sure you go check them out. It helps support the show. There's a discount code down in the description. As of the video recording, it's YLR ZDF. They'll save you 15%. Almost everything in the store can be had a discount with that code. So make sure you go check it out. Again, helps support the show, and it supports them. They're a great company, and we really love those guys over there. So thanks for
awesome product.
Thanks for the hookup, guys.
I think actually the code has been updated to YLR-ZDF off this grass, and yeah,
yeah. Don't confuse people.
Okay, my bad. It's just not. Okay.
I really can't with you with the book with the pipe, dude. Where's your camera's just on fire or just exploded?
So I turned it on, and what happened was I updated some things in my computer, and then my computer. This is why I don't ever mess with computer. You can ask Kyle. Like he's ever like, hey, did you ever do this? Blah blah blah. And I was like, God no. So I thought I was cool. I pressed some buttons, and then I woke up this morning and my computer, like the microphone didn't microphone, the camera doesn't camera. So luckily there's this dope picture of me from reading some Shakespeare, smoking a bubble pipe. So,
Word.
I mean, that's pretty much how you have to teach Shakespeare. So there you go.
Have you actually blown bubbles out of a bubble pipe?
Absolutely.
Wow.
While
That's
the class
intense.
was going, the kids, like, whenever they would say something good, I would blow more bubbles. So they would, like, try really hard to actually say something smart. And I'd just be
Nice.
like, interesting, indubitably. And then you go, blah, 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 blah. And they're
You
just
do
like,
blah, blah, blah?
yeah, literally.
Yeah.
And that's it. And then when they're like, oh my God, it's how many bubbles. And like, as dumb as it is, these are kids who can drive and vote. And some of them have children now. But that worked. They listened.
Jack has the keen eye. He said with the book upside down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What always impressed people is the fact that I can read really quickly while the book is upside down. It's really not that big of a deal, but
I can read okay upside down. I feel like that's a laser engraving skill.
Yeah, honestly, I think it's just keep people who have ADHD really bad.
Right? Yeah, or that.
Which
You
is
can
probably
read
most
upside down,
places.
right, Anthony? You nodded.
You have to.
Yeah, I feel like you have to. You have to be able to read upside down to do this.
Sideways, upside down.
Sure.
Yep, 45-degree angle. Come at me, bro. Hold my laser targeting system. Matt, do you want to? It's been a minute, I feel like, and this is probably not true, but since we've like acknowledged chat, do you want to hit chat real quick and just say hi to everybody for us?
Dude, I want to hit chat.
So I can make some comments while you run through it.
Yeah, if you give me a second, because my
I'll
computer's
give you all the you have all the seconds, sir. We can edit all of the awkward dead air out after the show. Oh, speaking of which, if you guys like edits, there are quite a few that I've been publishing, and I have edits scheduled to upload every single day for the next like 9 days. And when we have a real episode, when we have a real episode of Laser Everything, we will insert it into that line. So you'll probably see a break for that 3D scanner episode, which Rhiannon's almost done editing now. But outside of that, lots of edits of the podcast are going up. I think over a dozen. So if you guys do like the edits, if you like listening on like your phone or whatever, you come back after the live and listen to the edits or whatever. Got quite a few going your way. I think today was the 4th in like the dozen or so that we have lined up to go live over the next week or two. So
nice.
Yeah, I'm stoked.
Well, to go back to the original thing of who's in the chat, Jack in the shop was numero uno today.
I love it.
First.
Did you guys see the picture of me holding the monkey that he photoshopped? Because it was really good.
It
was pretty convincing.
Yeah,
was it Photoshop or was it AI? Because
I don't know, dude.
The AI stuff's getting just out of hand. I mean, you have the appropriate number of fingers, so I'm going to go and say maybe it's Photoshop, but
I just assumed.
Was that a sandwich you were holding in the first picture?
Jack is very like hands-on. You know, he's not like a lazy dude. So I feel like he did it the good old-fashioned way, just because that's the way I've seen him do everything I've seen him do. But that doesn't necessarily make that true. So I'm not.
But either way, I'm glad that you did it, Jack. So way to go. We appreciate that.
Chef's kiss.
I'm going to share it. I want to share that image. Really
quickly. And while you're doing that, I will talk about
that. Keep going.
So we got ET Laserworks showed up. What's going on, Michael? We got Laser Love Creations, Lara. Then we've got some more people like Cubing Cracked who showed up. Not even first, second, or third. What are you doing, Bronson? What's going on?
It's like learning or something.
We got a
He's got a girlfriend now.
Oh, no wonder he has to make these $50,000 jobs happen.
He does. What new laser did he get?
Oh,
got him. That was
He made the joke that his girlfriend is a laser.
Hey.
The other thing we've got is I Zap Things. That's a great name, by the way. Just saying. Miranda's in chat, dropping some WTFs like always. K. That's their name. K.
I think that's a 10-inch. You insert the blank on Discord. By the way, he's referring to my chocolate.
Does it rhyme with
voice.
ripples?
Yes.
10-inch ripples?
Yeah.
There you go. K 10 and triples coming in hot from the Discord. If you haven't gone over there, check out the coin challenge this week. Oh, the monkey. The monkey's on the screen.
I mean, I don't think it's AI, but it's really good. You know, like look at how the fur intertwines with like my fingers and stuff.
Yeah.
I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't even know what I was holding in the original picture. If
Yeah,
anything.
that's why I think it's AI, because he said
Are
he's
those
been messing
using my
around making
arms?
like those Bigfoot videos and stuff too. So
But you know what? If you look at his cheek, look at Alex's cheek. His beard is like what's the distortion tool, right? Like it looks like he kind of did a little distortion.
But if you look at the right index finger and
wait,
the
hold on,
ring
let me
finger,
make this a little bigger if you guys are
look
watching.
at that hot dog
little-
finger.
there's a little weird AI thing.
Yeah,
happening
there
right
is.
there.
I see it. I
So,
see it. Yeah.
You never know.
The
That could be a
hands,
distortion
dude, that's
tool where
like
he put it over the hands. You never know.
Maybe.
Let's see. We got Resin Dragon Studios said, boys, everybody, and she hit us all up by name. What a nice person you are, Cheryl. By the way, if you think this is AI or if you think this is Photoshop, put it in the chat. See what you guys think. Let's see.
If Kyle wasn't busy, I'd ask him to put up a poll.
Oh, you know what? Miranda said it's
Well,
AI
hey,
because the shelf.
There's
Hold
more.
on, we got an answer. Miranda said it's AI because the shelf in the back does not exist in our house.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know
Whoa.
where it thinks that this is. Also, are those VHS tapes?
I was gonna say it looks like
on,
8
the bottom?
tracks or something.
I don't have 8 tracks, dude.
Not with that attitude.
That's crazy.
That's the way you got to listen to jams.
Yeah. All right. So I think we're settled on AI.
More
It's
than
good
a
though. It's good
feeling.
AI. If you're just passing it at like a, give it a passing glance.
Yeah.
The
that's
best part of that is I can
pretty solid.
absolutely see you holding that stupid thing.
Dude,
Like, I can just see
absolutely.
you having it at the shop, being like, "Hey guys,
If
what's
I
up?"
could get a stuffed one of those, I would. Pretty instantly.
Anyways, but yep, that's pretty much everybody hanging out with us. We got 32 people watching. We got about 15 people in chat.
Cool.
If you haven't smashed or liked us yet, go ahead and smash us. Go ahead and like us. Maybe smash the like. I don't know. Something with
Like the
cats
smash?
boxes. Oh, do you like the smash? Oh my god.
I'm rolling right into questions. Isaac says, I wanted to ask you a question about adjusting timing. Alex's video on adjusting galvo timing. Can I use it for a UV laser as well? Yep. It works.
The likelihood of you needing it for a UV laser is significantly lower, but it's the same process, just tighter.
I've not done that actually.
I don't have to with mine. It's like such a small delta that I just don't mess with it.
Yeah, I've not ever touched it. But if you are experiencing issues, it might be an interesting place to look. I don't know. That's something I've never done. I guess I've never had to do it either. I've just never been like, I didn't do the timing on this machine, so I've just not done it.
I've only messed with the timing on the UV once when I was doing work with the guy that was doing some like really specific scientific stuff on like these sheets of
Super
different
tiny.
materials. So
Mhm.
yeah, it was so like we just dropped it all the way basically and made the engraving take longer than it should. But
Word.
that was the only time. Otherwise, it's always come out great. No matter I have 3 different lenses going from 70 millimeter to 300, and it's always been perfect.
Nice.
You're
Yeah,
perfect.
that's true. What's funny is I've never
You're
thought of that
breathtaking.
actually.
Yeah, I've never thought of it either. It was a good question.
By the way, I also agree with Anthony's perfection, especially now with the beard on point. Mwah.
Right? I know it.
Chef's kiss.
You guys are gonna make me blush.
Oh,
We can't see it because of the beard, though. He ties my blush.
we didn't miss any other questions, right?
Not yet.
Kyle, do you want me to do questions first and money later, or do you want me to do money first and questions later?
Well, we did a question already, so do we want to make it up?
questions?
We did. You want to just keep going?
Whatever.
Sure. Laura wants to know. Next question. Is your back feeling better, Kyle?
It has its days. It depends on what I'm working on.
It's a trick question. Kyle's back is never feeling better. It just feels
I'm just a
less
broken man.
worse. Yeah, it just feels less worse. All right. So let's roll into some of these then. Make sure you stop me with an appropriate amount of time to get through your list, Kyle.
Yep.
T-Man over on YouTube said, in regards to the ammo can engraving episode, the can is 7.62 ammo. That's cool. Fun
Mhm.
fact. Quick question: what laser are you using, or what are you cleaning it with? That episode was shot with the 30-watt Mactron laser, and it was cleaned with ZEP, if I recall correctly. But it is included in the video. So if you guys want to watch that one, this is a good episode. That one performed really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one like did not do well when I published it, but then I came back to it like 3 years later and it had like 100,000 views or whatever. So just like one of those good ones, man. It's solid. You should check it out if you haven't already seen it.
I was gonna say, I think when Ace Hardware started selling like the ammo can like holders, where they're not real ammo cans, but they're like, you know, the powder coated stuff, like that became like a big seller. I actually have found using the CO2 gantry, it's definitely slower, but I get a way cleaner burn. When I use the CO2 Galvo, I've noticed, I guess, I don't know if it's the fact that it's continuous beam or if it's like, you know, I don't know what the difference is, but like, man, like the CO2.
Well, CO2 is not continuous wave, it's pulsed.
Yeah.
Oh, whoops. All right. Well, that being said, like the CO2 is the best one I've done. Like I still haven't with the fiber been able to get as clean as the one that you got. So that's one of those ones. If you've got a CO2 gantry that you can actually fit it into, it's worth. I think it's slower, but it's worth it.
Yeah. Now that we're talking about this, you're reminding me. I believe we did one side of that ammo can with the 30-watt fiber, and we did the other side with the CO2 gantry. I think it was the photo side was the fiber, and then we did a bunch of like text on the other side.
Yeah, it'd probably be real hard to
CO2
get that
gantry.
grayscale with the gantry.
With the gantry,
wasn't it the like a picture of a tractor?
Like a tractor, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and it was like a yellowish looking, and it still looked really cool, but it had like the discoloration issue.
It did. I think the cool thing about that episode was that it really showcased what you can do with well-disciplined 30 watts. Because we did that pretty big, and it came out fairly nice. So that's why I like that episode.
It is a good one.
D's, not nuts, just D's. 414. Which fiber laser to buy in 2021? What fiber laser is best in 2025? We actually just published that episode. Lasers I'd actually buy in 2025. So if you haven't watched that one, go watch that one too. It's a really good episode. Any thoughts about doing a basketball using a CO2 30-watt Galvo? Before I answer with theoreticals, has anybody actually attempted to engrave a basketball before? Because I have.
I have done a football with the CO2 Galvo, and I basically the best way. I mean, so it's kind of like the leather, and it's also got the same like elliptical shape. The one thing I can say is, you know, grab extra, like whatever they're using. Number one, number two, make sure it's genuine leather, because there's a lot of ones that are like the pleather stuff, and it's gonna get real melty real fast, and you'll pop it. If you can have it inflated to the best that you can have it be inflated, that's going to give you the most surface area. Like that's where it, because the whole thing is like what it's going to look like at the end. You want it to look like while you're engraving it, right?
If you're engraving it flattened versus full, you're going to be stretching it out a little bit.
Yeah, and it's absolutely
when
going to
you
look
go to fill it up. Yeah.
Yep. So that's really important. And then what I was going to say is kind of like when you are engraving a cup, having there be like, if you can use like the, oh my God, my brain is so tired right now. Thank you so much. Yeah, the cylinder correction helps if you can. Again, that's why the practice one is so nice. And then also finding like for you to get the best engraved, make sure you do it like at the apex of the curve of the ellipse. That's kind of the best advice I've got. I think the best size I found for the football was like 65 mil. So like 2.5 inches, because like basically you've got the laces and everything. If it's like one of the high school footballs that you're doing. So I know it's not a basketball per se, but like I feel like that'd probably be pretty similar tips. So there you go.
The basketball I did came out really good on the gantry, but since then I've learned quite a bit about laser engraving. So my advice to this person would be that it is fairly straightforward, but it is also horribly, horribly toxic. Those leathers, even the genuine leathers, are dyed and processed to shit. They're absolutely not veg tan leather. There's no way. There's
veg tan leather would hold up in use on something like that.
Yeah, for sure. There's absolutely 100% without any doubt in my mind, no way that is a safe material to engrave. So, if you insist on doing it, proceed with caution. But my official recommendation would be don't do it. For more information about that, db.lasereverything.net, you can check out the new material safety guide that has a little bit more information on that kind of stuff. But I just wanted to throw that out there.
Good advice. Good advice.
Speaking of which, Fraggin5 said, what happened to the database? This is kind of an old comment, but they're all back online. They've been back online for like 2 weeks now, and I'm super stoked about it. They're all working really well. I do want to acknowledge the people that are in the LMA that said that one particular list of files in one of the like subcategories has a bunch of 404 like broken links in it. I see you, I hear you, and I will fix it soon. But the file database is among the things that is back online at db.lasereverything.net. So if you want to, you can jump in now and hunt for those linked files because they're in there. Just the URLs have changed. So that is available again as well.
I think the bind guide was being worked on too, right?
The bind guide, yeah. So before we do this next question, where is the bind guide at? The bind guide is the last thing that still runs on Vinny's old code, which since updating other things to get the new stuff working has more or less broken. So that needs just like a rewrite, just like everything else has gotten. It's the only thing left as far as web services go that is not currently working correctly and should be remedied in the near future. So another thing to keep an eye on. Chilo Tico says, hi, I've got a problem. I can't save the parameters. I'm getting the message, save C, EasyCAD, Mark Config 7 failed. Please help. I'm totally new to this. Thanks in advance. First thing is upgrade to Lightburn. There's no reason to be saving params in EasyCAD anymore. If you literally can't, if you absolutely cannot upgrade to Lightburn for some reason, try unzipping your EasyCAD installation. It's a huge trip up with EasyCAD. It ships often in a zipped folder, like a compressed zip file, and you can run EasyCAD out of a zip file. It works. It's super weird, but when you try to save any data into that archive, it usually fails. So what you'll see is people run EasyCAD out of a zip, and then they do a bunch of stuff. They configure a bunch of things, get the software the way they want it, and then they close it. And the next time they come back, they're like opening up a fresh EasyCAD like they were never there. And that is a pretty much a sure thing. I don't know if there's anything else that causes that specific issue that you're running EasyCAD out of a zip folder. Go ahead, Kyle.
The other thing that can come up, and I ran into this from, I can't remember what manufacturer was doing it, but I was getting a lot of people coming to me with this problem, and it seemed like out of the blue. Check and see if the files you're copying off the flash drive are set to read only. So right click on the directory in the files, see if it's set to read only. And the reason why that I think was being done, because really I didn't talk to the manufacturer, so I have no idea why, but I suspect it's for that reason where they didn't want people accidentally overwriting the factory configuration. So they had something to reference, because the factory wasn't saving the tuning and the stuff. So if it was getting overwritten, it was gone forever. So check and see if it's set to read only on the copy. I wouldn't change the original to not read only, because then you might screw up your original if you're not careful. But that's the only other tip I have.
Yeah, a lot of people will run EasyCAD off of the flash drive too, which is it goes right along with what Kyle's saying. Don't do that. Don't run EasyCAD off the flash drive. Copy everything on the flash drive to your local machine and run it from there for a multiple.
And then unplug the flash drive so that you have it as a backup and you don't screw it up or burn it out or
Am I the
accidentally
only-
snap it off in the USB port or whatever.
Am I the only person who, like, whenever you get those flash drives, I'm like, something on this is gonna get me. Like, there's gonna be like a virus. There's gonna be something.
Dude, I've looked high and far for any kind of malicious software on all of the drives I've gotten, all of, over all of the years that I've been doing this. I've never found anything. Ever.
Neither have I. I've never had any issues, but it's just like that. Like in the back of
That's
your
how
mind,
they
you're
get
like,
you.
exactly. Like it's like that crazy pill thought where you're like, what? I'm just supposed to just put this in my computer and trust that this is gonna run.
But definitely second the whole Lightburn thing, and 2.0 just dropped like the other day, right?
Yes, it
Yep.
did.
So that's live, which is kind of a better UI experience, and then some other stuff runs a little bit more smoothly. But also, Milmage is in beta where people can access it. So
Yep.
That's cool. I don't have any machines that can run Milmage, so I don't really have an excuse to play with it.
yeah, me neither. But it'd be
Jack
nice.
made a cool video, I think.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Jack in the shop.
If you want to drop that in chat for people, Jack kind of did like a quick explanation, like a real fast and dirty, which, that is Jack in the shop.
I don't think that Jack can, because I think we have links blocked in chat, but we can definitely throw it in the description for sure.
Yeah, definitely worth taking a look at. He did a great job just doing like a real quick, like cursory glance at what it does and how it works. So I thought that, and he's using a Linux machine, which Alex loves. And I think it worked in Linux and it worked in Windows really well. And he was,
Yeah, I think I saw him. I think he said he was running it in bottles, and bottles worked fine, which is good news because nothing works in bottles. So
there you go.
good. Yeah. This one's labeled YouTube EasyCAD driver issue. Hey, my old computer, which had XP, crashed, and now I have a new computer, Windows 11. But when I plug the laser in, Device Manager on the other drive shows an unknown drive. I'm not sure what I should do now.
Driver install.
Driver install. Install your drivers.
When Windows is saying you have an unknown device, it's because it doesn't know what it is. So like when you plug in a flash drive and it recognizes it's a data storage drive, it's using a generic driver to tell the computer what it is and how to operate with it. Windows doesn't come with the driver install for EasyCAD, especially because it's using like a 20-year-old driver that is no longer digitally signed. But that's the reason why it's coming up as unknown device. And what you do is you right click on it, tell it you want to install a driver. Do not tell it to search for it automatically. Tell it where it is. It should be on the flash drive with the rest of the EasyCAD content that you have. If you need those, I believe Alex still has those on the database on the site.
Yep.
You can even download the community edition if you wanted to just start over for some reason.
I was just going to say that.
That's good for troubleshooting purposes too.
Additionally, if you're moving from XP to 11, that's like a 10-year jump in Windows operating systems. You're probably moving from the 32-bit drivers to the 64-bit drivers. So make sure that you're using the AMD like x64 version of the EasyCAD 2 drivers, because the 32-bit drivers will not work on Windows 11. So if you're trying to install the drivers from the same exact driver file, it is not going to function for you. So that would be just my little sprinkle on top of Kyle's explanation there. Let's see. I know this is older, but what are the advantages or disadvantages of using a Galvo CO2 compared to a gantry CO2 other than laser area? One thing that I'm aware of is the two-way lasers handle grayscale. Oh, the way two lasers handle grayscale photos. A little hard to read. So I don't know. Matt, I feel like, is super qualified to talk about this and gets excited about it all the time.
Yeah.
He's the only.
Can you put the question back up so I can make sure I address it correctly?
Sure.
So I actually made a video about the CO2 Galvo, and Alex and Kyle, I think everybody here has kind of played with them and talked about them. But the advantages and disadvantages of a Galvo CO2 compared to a gantry. So the whole thing is, and this is where like I literally, I thought I was losing my mind earlier. So when you're using a gantry CO2 laser, because it's continuous wave, right? Is that right? Am I saying it right? See, I said it
Yes.
weird last time, but I knew what I was trying to say. There we go.
Mhm.
But anyways, when you do that, basically you've got a much stronger cutting laser, which is what you have. That's kind of what it's for. The problem is the benefit is you've got a larger workspace with that. Depending on the wattage that you have too, you can cut thicker materials. It's going to be a little bit slower, but you're going to get a nice clean cut, especially if you have upgraded things like air assist that are on there. So when you're doing lots of stuff like cutting, that is going to be one of the best things you can have around. The nice thing too is you can batch things on that larger workspace. You can build jigs for things. There's all kinds of pluses to that, which I'm sure that we have a video on about CO2 gantry. I think Alex did a great job with the Aeon Mira 9 video way back when.
Yeah.
So you can take a look at that. The other thing too is when you're using a CO2 Galvo, you have a laser that is much faster. So the whole thing is you're going to get speed. You can batch things out in smaller batches over a smaller workspace, usually depending on the wattage that you have, like a 30 watt or a 60 watt. You could, I think, reasonably do like a 1 foot by 1 foot workspace pretty successfully. And you can knock stuff out really, really quick. You are a little more limited with what you can do as far as cutting goes because you don't have air assist. But like with some of the 1/8 plastics, I've had some really good success with cutting really smaller, like keychains and name plates. Those cut really easily, but it does take a lot of work to kind of get those right where it's not melty, burny. So the other nice thing is you can do pictures really well. You have a much smaller. Actually, the dot size is smaller because you have an RF2 a little bit, right? Like 0.06 versus 0.08. Oh, but 0.08 is a fiber.
I think it's a toss-up. I think configuration matters. They're pretty close.
Yeah, and the other big difference too is usually I don't know of any that have RF tube versus a glass tube. So you're gonna have
they do make glass tube ones, but they're old. I think they're like antiquated, and I don't think that they're nearly as popular as they once were.
Yeah,
well, they're usually used for like clothing manufacturing to like mark on like cotton or jean material or stuff like that.
Yeah, and so that would basically it. So with the CO2 Galvo, you are definitely going to get speed, especially if you're hooking up a rotary. You can do some really great stuff. Kyle and I have worked together to do some full wraps on cups and tumblers, and Anthony can attest to that too, because I know we had talked about like speeds and settings.
That was a cool video. It was a stream, right?
Yep, it was a stream where like we literally just knocked out a full wrap tumbler 30 ounce in like I think it was like 6 minutes or something like that. I mean, full wrap top to bottom. It was pretty dope. So lots of really cool things. So speed and versatility is what CO2 Galvo gives you. Cutting and versatility and a larger workspace would be what the CO2 gantry gives you. But you do need a lot more setup, like air assist. You need exhaust. You need exhaust on both of them, but a little bit heavier duty on the CO2 gantry. So, and the CO2 gantry is probably going to be water cooled. So you're going to have a chiller and space and all the equipment for that. So just be aware too.
Also, if you don't have or can't get a UV laser, but glass is important to you, you want the gantry. The Galvo is going to fail at that with its pulse laser. So you really want a gantry laser for that work if you care at all about glass. If you don't care, then disregard. But that's an important distinction between the two as well. You're muted, Anthony. All right, good stuff. Let's move on. Did you have anything you wanted to add, Anthony?
No, I just said for sure.
Oh, okay, cool.
My dogs were going crazy. So
and he was muted, but
my God, look at this. This one just eliminates Matt entirely. Anthony's still hidden back there. Matt's just gone.
Guys, are you there, guys?
Hagler says, came back to this video. This is the install a laser tube video, which is unbelievably old. Came back to this video to refresh my memory, plus Laser Everything was the first channel I started to follow in 2022. I had some wiring, 2 red wires at end of tube, catch fire inside the ceramic box provided. This wiring was not properly installed on first install, electrical tape on twisted ends. Instead of filling the ceramic box with silicon, then coating that wire box with more silicon. Looks like I think it's silicone. Looks like the laser power supply is no longer active. Even pressed the laser test button, no LED. I even cut the 2 red wires down and retwisted to see if anything would react. Nothing. My question is, do I need to replace all of this wiring and get a new power supply? Also, what type of wiring to purchase to replace? Just trying to narrow down the steps needed to get this machine up and running again. Any advice would be greatly appreciated.
Immediate advice. I think this should be on our buying guide. Fire safety. So just in case fires happen again, that'd be number one. Like the little what's the sheet, Kyle? I think that's the one that you like, right?
The fire blankets.
Yeah, those
are nice for like if you have access to whatever is on fire. Like if it's on the laser bed, you can smash the emergency stop, move the head out of the way, blanket it, and it's a non-issue. I really like
electrical components is harder because that's going to be in the chassis.
I really like this kind of fire extinguisher, which is rated for grease as well and electronics, because it's basically like soap suds. It comes out like soap suds, so it doesn't leave that like powder crap that like erodes and eats away at stuff. So it's not going to totally destroy the electronics, assuming you cut the power to them already. If you don't, and you cause it to like arc to something it shouldn't be, then I mean that's a totally different problem. Yeah. But I like those. You could also use something like a CO2 fire extinguisher, but those are significantly more expensive and also usually have a lifespan on them. Whereas something like what I just showed you will last you years and years and years if you don't need it, and it can just sit there as long as it doesn't freeze.
I know that didn't address the question, but to me that's one of those things where like playing around with stuff, you're tired, it's a long night, and then zap and whoosh, and then bad things happen. But anyways, there you
go. The wiring part of the question, don't quote me on this, but I'm fairly sure you're looking for like kilovolt wiring. This is not like volts. We're like
there's labeling on the wire that was in there already, and I would be looking for a replacement of that particular gauge wire type.
I remember when I was looking for connectors, I needed like kilovolt connectors to connect. It was like 20 or 30 kilovolts or something like that. So do your own research. Just throwing that out there. Also, you shouldn't have to replace all the wiring. Just parts that are clearly burnt or like melted would be the risk.
It sounds like the insulation wasn't the problem, to be honest. It sounds like the wires twisted together were the problem.
Yeah,
there shouldn't be wires twisted together with that kind of voltage running through them.
Yeah.
Because as they loosen up, it follows the same standards of any other electrical connection. If it heats up and cools down, it's going to heat up and cool down and loosen up over time. If you don't have like a mechanical pinch holding it together or solder or whatever. If it's just twisted together with a little bit of electrical tape haphazardly wrapped around it, it's going to, over time, loosen up. It's going to create more resistance in the wire because the connection is loosening and you're going to have less contact between the two wires. And it's going to generate heat. And that's what ends up lighting stuff on fire or burning it up. So that is probably the problem. And I would look at, so usually with the little silicone sock thing that goes over and locks together, usually there's not other stuff other than like electrical tape holding that in place from what I've seen. But I don't typically see those filled with silicone. It's a little boot that goes over the connection, but inside of that, there should be a male and a female end that's crimped on or soldered or both. And that's where
I mean, outside, like mine is like screwed in. Mine's like screwed in with what are the little pitchfork ones.
The fork connectors.
Yeah, and outside of that, because I have another red wire that goes to the power supply, and like those are separate wires. So there's like the red coming from the power supply and the red coming from the tube, and those have to be joined. They make joiner kits for those, like high voltage joiner kits that are super well insulated. So if we're talking down the line a little bit, this is what I was picturing, and that is the join that was twisted together. You can literally just get a kit where they plug in and snap and you're done, and it's rated for the voltage you're putting through it. So that would be something to
I'm pretty sure when I ordered replacement CO2 laser power supply, I'm pretty sure it came as part of the kit too. So I mean, they're like cents to throw into a box with something else realistically. But if you need those separately, I'm 99% sure you could get that off Amazon from CloudRay.
Yeah, and Jack says to make sure you have the laser frame grounded so you don't electrocute yourself.
Yes,
it's a good
idea. Just because, here's another fun thing. Just because the plug that plugs into the wall has the ground pin on it, the 3-pin outlet, does not mean that your laser is grounded. A lot of manufacturers just use generic cords that are built for grounded equipment, and the ground end of that inside the machine just isn't connected to anything. So check that.
Actually happened with the CO2 Galvo that I have, and Kyle and I had to track it down and figure out what was going on with it. So
yeah, that's a big one. It's a big one. Okay, let's see. Can you do glasses with an IR laser? Glasses like that you wear on your face?
I'm assuming
probably.
I'm assuming Mickey means glass like glassware.
Oh, glasses like glassware. That makes more sense.
You have to use a hack.
Yes. Yeah, I think one of the ones, I'm actually going to check this while we're chatting. I think one of those podcast episodes that I brought up earlier that's on the kind of rollout list is specifically about this. So let me check, because that might be coming your way super duper soon.
While you're looking, I personally just had an experience with glassware screwing around with titanium oxide. And so it's one of the hacks like Kyle mentioned. I mean, it's definitely a hack, and it's something that is dependent on getting the right coating and thickness and consistency and all of that. But I have done some glass with titanium dioxide. It turned out okay, but that's probably about the best you were going to get with a fiber laser on glass. Is just okay. I've never seen, even the people that get decent results, they're just okay results. They're not like CO2 even, much less UV quality.
Yeah, and the other thing is kind of to add what Anthony said is like the infrequency that it happens, because you'll do a great perfect spray on glass 1, and then on glass 2 the coating is like a 0.5 millimeter too thick, and then it looks good on like 1/3 of it or 2/3 of it, and on the last part it messes up. So that's the thing. It's a can you, yes, but should you, no. I guess that's my take on it.
I went and looked up the video, and because I'm snooty, I titled it "Engraving Glass the Right Way versus Getting By with a Fiber Laser," and that airs on July 11th.
That's a sassy title.
It's sassy. That's coming out on July 11th, so you can look for that one coming out soon. It got the title, so we definitely talk about it. It's something we argue with Chad about here all the time, so that should include a lot more information for you.
I have a cousin's uncle's sister who she said that she got a mark on glass. Like, that's what I feel like I always see in the chat, and all, not here, but like in literally all the Facebook groups. And it's like that you see that one picture, in that one picture you don't see that person post like 20 pictures. Like, it's always just the one time it worked.
Stacy wants to know, when purchasing a CO2 Galvo, did any certain company stick out more than the rest? I think that CO2 Galvos are getting pretty ubiquitous as far as the spread of like the off-the-shelf parts that are used in most builds. So I would say for the most part, it's probably a free-for-all. Does anybody disagree with that?
Not really. The one thing I would say is when you're purchasing any laser, and then we've talked about this too. So this is one of those things that I know we've done. I think we did it live, like a stream on it one time, where Kyle and I kind of went into it. But basically, you know, make sure the company you're buying it from. If you're someone who's trying to buy it from something on Amazon, right, where like you want it here in 2 days, it's already in the country, all that kind of stuff. Definitely make sure that you. My biggest thing is use a credit card so you can do chargebacks in case weird stuff happens. Like no matter where you get it from, if you're going to go the route of buying it direct from China, make sure that you know what time of year you're buying it. Make sure that you know what's going to happen when it lands, because tariffs are a real thing. Like it's definitely something that is like
realer than ever.
Yeah.
And you can never ask too many questions when it comes to that. Like I bought so many things from China, and every time I go through, I'm like, so this is going to be the product delivered to my front door, shipping included, all taxes included, all tariffs included, correct? And then you want them to respond with yes. Otherwise, you can run into issues where your stuff sits in customs for months or even gets sent back to China because it didn't get paid. So
and then the other thing is they can actually hold on to it because it is a laser. A CO2 Galvo is a class 3 laser, I think, when it comes in. Usually, I mean, you can check on that.
It depends on if there's an enclosure or not.
There you go. The other part of that too is, are you looking for a company that's going to provide support after? So, and also, does that support speak your language? Is it in your time zone? Is there going to be somebody who can help you? If those things matter to you, those are the boxes that you should be checking off. And then, do I feel comfortable giving these people, you know, $4,000 to $8,000 of my money?
Worry less about a component list and more about whether or not the company you're trying to work with sucks. Because some of them will.
In terms of components, there's like levels of good and bad. And with CO2 Galvo, it really, if detail matters to you, then you have to worry about it more. If you don't care and you're just marking cutting boards and it's generic logos and that kind of stuff,
chunky text,
you can care less about it and still get, wow, my video is really delayed.
It is.
Sorry. So that's usually like Alex's go-to with Maxtron or my go-to with Heoshin, or there's a couple other options out there. They have builds that are tried and true with hardware that works together for a 20 millimeter head that gives you the best output you're going to get without spending 2 to 3 to 4 to 10 times more money on like a custom 30 or 40 millimeter head setup with significantly larger glass, right? So yeah.
If that all sounds confusing to you, go watch Everything You Need to Know About Galvo Lasers, one of our best videos I think we ever published. But the bottom line is pick the company first and then see if they can meet your needs with the product. As far as CO2 Galvo goes specifically, everybody makes them. Kyle mentioned Heoshin. We have SFX makes them now. Wavetop makes them. CloudRay makes them. Maxtron makes them. You can find all of the company names that come up over and over and over and over again on Laser Everything are perfectly fine, serviceable places to buy from. You just have to know what you're getting. And I think the technical specs that Kyle is touching on, but not super getting into right now, will probably be more important than like what actual company you pick, as long as they're meeting your customer service needs.
The other thing I was going to say is be careful of the price, because there are companies where you can absolutely get an amazing price, but you give up on what Alex just said, which is the customer service and the support after. So like it's
warranty support.
Check out, just make a list of things that are important to you, because the machine is the machine. That's going to come with whatever you buy. And then I would say make a list of what's important to you, top 3, and those can, like, that'd be where you kind of narrow your search down.
Yeah. I'm going to stop us there. I'm going to go ahead and call it on that and invite Kyle to share his Amazon research with us for the last 10 minutes here, because I did want to get some of these in. I want to be able to say we cared even the slightest bit about the Amazon sale and talked about it. So fulfill that fantasy of mine, Kyle.
Got weird there.
Look, guys, it's my pussy.
Dude, I was a little freaked out when you first reached back and pet him because I did not see him the whole time you were there.
Well, he's camouflaged on this couch, so.
So here's kind of my finding list, right, for Amazon. So there's a couple things, right? On the left, we have a business account, and on the right, we have a non-logged in generic account, or non-account, I should say. And you'll notice there's a price difference here, and both of them still have access to the $120 coupon. So if you're not seeing the same price as me, just make sure that you're logged into an account, and if you don't see it, maybe double check that it's a business account if your business is registered on Amazon. But this is the best price I've seen on this unit and similar units. This is just a generic 50 watt from CloudRay. This is the new style, and it comes with a ring rotary for just under $2,300 shipped. So pretty
not
solid.
bad at all. Yeah.
Actually, it's like $2,150, I guess, with the coupon.
With the coupon, yeah.
Something like that. So pretty solid deal.
Damn, you can get two of them for what we had to pay for one of them like 5 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, maybe less than that even, because a 30 watt 5 years ago was $5-6 grand probably.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And even now, still some companies are still getting that. So further down the line, I'm just gonna jump around a little bit here. We have Brilliance laser inks. And the next thing I'm gonna say is this is the sale price, $36.96, and this is the 12-ounce can, not to be confused with the smaller cans that are like little sample or small project cans.
I love Brilliance laser inks. They're one of my oldest like affiliate programs that I signed up for as a YouTube content creator. And I don't like saying bad things about them, but those fucking little cans are useless. You can get through like one glass with them, and then they don't have any pressure in them. So do not buy those. Make sure you're getting it.
See if you like it, kind of.
Yeah, make sure you're getting the 12-ounce cans, guys. 12-ounce cans. Okay, they're also way cheaper. Oh wow, I didn't even realize the price on that. Those are usually $50.
Yeah. So over here on the right side, regular price $50. When you click on the link, or if you search for this, it often will default to regular price. Make sure you're checking on the right side to see if you need to click on deal price.
Word.
So that's my pro tip on that. And there's also, you don't see this very often, the red copper tone is also on sale.
Nice.
And I was actually looking for this for a while for somebody, and this wasn't available for a little bit. So that's another factor. But
I've never used that. Have any of you guys actually used that?
I didn't even know it existed.
I actually needed it.
Yeah,
for
they
a
have a bunch of colors.
Couldn't get it, but now I don't need it, so it doesn't matter. So that's that, and we actually have some more deals. So, many of you probably saw that X-Tool has an F2 coming out. It's not available yet, so it doesn't matter. But the X-Tool F1, the base model, is down to $1,169, which I think is about $50 cheaper than the last
not bad at all
that they did a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
So
this
is the lowest price I've seen.
By the way, friends, this laser made my top 10 list, and the F1 Ultra did not. If you want to know why, make sure you go watch that video. It's the top 10 lasers I'd actually buy in 2025. It's a pretty solid episode. People have been begging for it for a while. And this laser makes the list, not the Ultra. So if you're curious why, go watch that up. It's a good one.
Yep. So that's that. Again, I have checked all of the pricing history on all of these, all the things that I'm mentioning, and they are indeed the best prices that have been for like the last 6 months at least. So
solid.
What's the shipping time on that? Does it say when it will be here if you ordered it today?
This I'm pretty sure is Prime, but I'm not logged in, so it's going to depend on what warehouse you're coming from.
I gotta look at that.
It ships from Amazon, so it depends on the warehouse you're next to, I guess. They also have the deluxe F1, so it comes with the all the things, right? $1879, and this is, I think, $60 cheaper than the last sale event in December or something. So pretty considerable, and pretty decent setup. You also have the F1 Ultra, which ranked lower, right? It's not on Alex's top 10, but it is on deal right now. So pretty decent setup. Just make sure you're getting the add-ons that you want, right? Don't rely on the photos to know if you're getting what you're looking for. Make sure it's in the description, because sometimes companies will screw up listings and just throw in default images, and then you see like the conveyor belt, and if it doesn't come with the conveyor, you're going to be pissed, kind of thing.
I've never used the conveyor, and I've got limited use with the rotary, but on the F1 listing, they showed the extractor. I used the F1 extractor for like so much stuff, including my open like class 4 diode lasers. It actually does a really good job extracting for those too, with like the kind of like goosenecky tubing stuff.
Yeah.
So I really like that as a component. I just throwing that out there random.
And they have the new one too, with like the little vortices and stuff. That, I mean, it looks pretty attractive just as a general like fume extractor, not even having to use it specifically with the X tools.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard the newer one is a little nicer and moves a little bit more volume, so that might be cool. I haven't looked into filter replacement or anything like that on those, but
I mean, they're expensive, but filters always are.
Yeah.
So,
so there's that. And this is the last one I wanted to mention. It's only a little baby 20 watt, and normally we don't go out of our way to recommend 20 watts a lot of the time, but for $1,100, it felt like it was a worthwhile consideration. You know,
get into fiber laser engraving for $1,100.
There's diodes that cost that, you know.
Yeah,
exactly. So not only is this a full fat 20 watt fiber laser, I don't know if it's a Max or a Raycus source. It's definitely not a JPT for 1,100, but either way you go, Max or Raycus for 20 watt, that's totally fine. The nice part is standard lenses.
yeah.
Where
That's
most
impressive.
1,100, like if sub $2,000 machines right now, especially the compact ones with the all-in-one base, a lot of them are coming with an all-in-one head that uses the, what is it, D55 or whatever it is size.
Yeah.
And you can only go up to 200 millimeter on work field size, whereas with a standard head like this, you can put whatever lens size you want in here. And if you really wanted to use it and it didn't fit in the tower size you have here, you can actually unbolt the tower and just rotate it around so you're working off the side of the bed, and give yourself more.
That use case is limited with 20 watts, but it still is nice to have the option. And the reason that the Ultra didn't make my top 10 list is for this exact reason. Is way too expensive. That Ultra costs over $3,000 and has a 20 watt fiber laser in it. So by stripping the diode out of that machine, the F1 Ultra, and being left with a 20 watt fiber, you're basically getting this. So you're shaving $2,000 off of the price of the F1 Ultra and getting the more expensive component. So that's
the question I have is, does anywhere on there, does it say that it's light burn compatible? I'm assuming it would be.
It's in the title.
Oh, literally. I've been like, well, I've been looking at the F1. I'm not gonna lie, this whole time I'm sitting here thinking like, I might just need that F1, because remember I was telling you about the kids are doing that.
It comes with the EasyCAD 2 software, so it's an EasyCAD 2 control board. So
I don't like
it's going to work like any other typical fiber.
I don't like patting myself on the back too often, but I am pretty sure that we completely destroyed the market for EasyCAD 3. Like, as a company, I'm pretty sure that Laser Everything is default for that. And ever since we started making videos about downgrading controllers and light burn compatibility, They have just like disappeared off of the market, and so I'm not shocked by that compatibility at all. It's pretty much a given at this point. Anyway,
Yeah, I'm still looking at the F1 because I'm thinking about that, like the end of the month doing that activity with the kids where they get to do the outside market, and I'm just like, man, that F1 like $1,000. how
I will
fast
say
can they make
the
itself
nice
pay
thing
for it?
about the F1 is with the enclosure on it, as long as you're not doing something that sticks out of it, that's a pretty compelling option for something that you would take to a show. Whereas like something open like that 20 watt I was just showing, if you're trying to do something out in the open, it's a humongous liability. If you're taking it with you somewhere. But just a couple quick questions to finish it off. What was the brand and model of the fire extinguisher that Kyle showed? It is Fire Gone. I picked it up at Walmart while it was on a big deal. I got them for like $3 or $4 a can or something, and I literally like loaded the cart with like 5 or 6 or 7 of them. So I have them spread across the shop.
You can get them on Amazon too. They're called like Fire Stop, I think. And
they're very similar. Yeah.
Miranda bought a bunch of them, and they're like all over my kitchen now. So
nice.
Yep. And did the Excel Laser Ultra 60 watt beat the new X-Tool F2? We don't have either of those on hand to test them together, but
also neither of them are out. So neither of those have been released, so I didn't include those in my 2025 list.
Well, I think that person or somebody else had asked a little bit ago about thoughts on the F2 Ultra, and I just mentioned in chat that I thought with the Excel Laser coming out and their emphasis on light burn compatibility out the gate, and the flying galvo and stuff, like in my mind it feels like that's probably a little bit better laser than the F2, but like I'm not real read in on the F2 either. But I mean, we'll have to see what happens when they get released and what the word is. But
yeah, I mean, X-Tool hasn't really made a shitty product since pre D1 Pro days. So like I'm not expecting it to be bad. I'm expecting it to be expensive. X-Tool's they've made themselves into a name brand. So now when you buy an X-Tool, you pay the luxury tax on X-Tool shit because it's X-Tool. So
and unfortunately you're buying yourself into their ecosystem too. So
totally.
That's like in my mind, that's the biggest disadvantage to anything X-Tool is if you buy it with the intent of using it for all of its multiple uses and extra functions and stuff, then you are locked in their ecosystem, and they'll say light burn compatible if you want to like design something in light burn, transfer it to their stuff and hit run. But that's kind of like
their machines work best on XCS.
Oh, for sure, yeah,
no
doubt.
Which brings up the next question I had saved is, I know the F1 Ultra works in light burn, X-Tool has drivers for it. It's not so much the drivers thing, it's a device profile, but my issue is that you lose out on all the functionality that Lightburn gives you for galvo lasers, because you don't get all of the fundamental support for like height map engraving or
it's a Gerbil machine.
It treats it as if it was a standard gantry machine. And the controller inside the laser is what's interpreting that and marking it as a galvo. So you really lose out on a lot of the bonus to Lightburn functionality to begin with because of the way it incorporates itself. But
this one caught my eye. Kay's asking thoughts on Ellie having some sort of art gallery feature in the Discord that's just a collection of everyone's finished pieces as an inspiration. And they continue on in chat if you want to read the rest of that comment. But I think that is actually a really good idea. Maybe on like the website.
I was going to say we have a show and tell section on the Discord.
Yeah, that's what
I know. Yeah, I know we have show and tell, but like somewhere I think like that more people could see it because
what I thought would be really cool. Oops, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say we have like a really expansive community at Laser Everything, but it's also very fractured. We have a lot of very independent, kind of self-contained sectors, and people stick to their sectors. The one place that I think brings everyone together is the one place that they don't really interact, which is the website. So I feel like maybe a gallery page on the website not only would be incredibly easy to implement, but could be curated.
I was just going to say that, yeah.
Yeah, it could be like
your extra time,
members.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. It would be super easy to just throw like a web gallery up and just be like Project Spire members. You know what I mean? And then we can just kind of peruse and pick stuff, and I think that would be really cool. So we'll definitely talk about that. I think that'd be fun.
Or even like a banner. Like if when you're on the main page, if there were just like a little banner that like scrolled and had, and then you could click on it and go to the gallery. I thought that would be kind of a cool idea. But
like a little carousel. Yeah.
Like the Pinterest style channel where it's more organized. Like, that's cool. The other thing too would be like if we got to look at that at the end of every show, like, hey, here's the cool stuff that got posted this week. Like, take a look at a handful of them. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, I think you're onto something, Kay. We'll chat about it. The implementation is we'll need a little concerting, but it'll come together. I really like that idea.
Yeah. Nice thinking, dude.
Yep, good one. I think we're done. I have a couple more questions, but I'll save them for next week. So unless anybody else has anything they want to throw in at the last second here, as we're rolling out the door. No, quiet guys.
No,
shy guys. All right, sweet. Then that is it. If you're here live, thanks for hanging out with us live. It's been a blast as always. We love you guys. And if you're listening to this after the fact, don't forget to smash the like button. Come on, just do it. Let everybody else know the content is good. And don't forget to subscribe. Only like 8% of the people that watch our videos are subscribed to our channel. Isn't that crazy? That's a real fact. That's a true fact. So make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get notified the next time we go live. You can be here live. It's fun. We have fun. You get to hear me say all the things that Miranda makes me bleep out during the edits. And if you really, really like this one, guys, go check out the Laser Master Academy. It's the #1 way to support the channel. It's the only reason we get to be back here week after week, uploading new episodes, giving you guys new content, providing new resources. All that's funded by the LMA. And we're really grateful to our members over there. If you want to learn more about that, head over to masters.lasereverything.net. Kyle, what's our link status? Do we have links in the description for things?
Links are all in the description. So if you guys saw anything you wanted to check out, they're down there. Plus all of the usual ones for reference.
Including but not limited to Matt's business consulting. Got questions about running a business, how to stay profitable, how to get new customers? Matt's your guy. He does coaching for that. So it's not even necessarily like laser coaching. It's just like running, turning your hobby into a business. Matt's got resources on that. Kyle has infinitely scalable and repeatable patterns that he's built by hand. They're really crazy, and they're demonstrated with 3D rotating GIFs, which were so cool. We did an entire episode of the podcast about them. So if you're curious and you want to see those, there's a link down there too, along with Anthony's link to beamituplasertape.com and get some Beam It Up Laser Tape. And of course, subscribe to him on YouTube at Beam It Up Laser Works, guys. That's all I've got. Thank you so much for hanging out with us one more time. We'll see you in the next one.
Pew pew! My fingers look like laser guns. Mew, 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 mew.